Welcome to Rappahannock Issues. I'm Tom Cohen.
And I'm David Kerr.
And we're going to be looking at topics that are of interest to our community, both regionally and to the state.
Good evening and welcome to Rappahannock Issues. We're continuing our series of debates and discussions about this year's election. As you know, there are a host of local races, boards of supervisor races, and what we're focusing on this week is the elections for the State Senate and the House of Delegates. We are going to be focused tonight on the 17th District of the State Senate, and we have, as we have with other debates, invited candidates to participate. Unfortunately, in this case, we sent out two invitations, one to Democrat Ned Gallaway and the other to Senator Bryce Reeves. And regrettably, we did not hear from Senator Reeves, but we are fortunate that Mr. Gallaway has accepted our invitation to participate and to be interviewed on our program. And Ned, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, one of the questions you start off with anybody who's kind of new to politics is, tell us a little about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name's Ned Gallaway, originally from Wheeling, West Virginia. That's where I grew up, my hometown. And I always tell folks my background is a lot in education. And my grandmother was the person who got me instilled and taught me how to be a student. My grandmother went back to school late in life when she was 60. And she went back to earn her business degree at Wheeling Jesuit College in my hometown. And because of my parents' work schedule, I would go to my grandmother's house after school. So when my grandmother said to sit down and do your homework, well, it wasn't just her telling me to do it. She was sitting down at her desk to do her homework as well. So I learned how to be a student from my grandmother. And she said, you know, the importance of education, if you have a good education, you're going to be able to accomplish things and choose what you would want to do. And that really had a lasting impact on me. Left Wheeling to attend Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. I earned my Bachelor in Fine Arts at Ohio University, and then found my way to Shaker Heights High School outside of Cleveland, Ohio, where I was a teacher, and met my wife there. She's from Shaker. And we relocated to Central Virginia, where I'm attending, I did attend the University of Virginia's Curry School of Education, and earned my doctorate in education there. And 4 years ago, I ran for school board, the at-large seat in Albemarle County, and I won that election. And been serving ever since. In the last 2 years, I've been the chair. And at this point, we have 3 children. My wife, Julie, is a pediatric intensive care unit nurse at the University of Virginia. And my 3 kids all attend public schools. I've got Caitlin, who's 13, about to be 14 in a few days. And Maggie is 9. And my son, AJ, is 6. So that's the dime tour, if you will.
Oh, that's excellent. And I have to make a confession. I'm a former school board member myself for Stafford County.
Great way to serve.
Yes, it is indeed.
School board.
Well, you know about running for office already, but the State Senate is a bigger contest than the school board. It covers, let's see, I made a note of the different counties that are involved in your district. The 17th District, the State Senate seats are always very large. It includes a little bit of Orange County, Spotsylvania County, Fredericksburg City, Culpeper County, Albemarle County, and Louisa County.
Portions of, that's right.
And so you're out there campaigning across this big spectrum. And I have to ask, with all the work you've got to do that, why are you running?
Well, this opportunity presented itself in April, late April. There was a prior candidate in my race, and she needed to drop out for personal reasons, health reasons. So the opportunity came up. You know, you can't, I don't believe a race should go unchallenged one. Voters should have a choice of who they want to represent them. So that's a big part of it philosophically, if you would. But at that point in time, I said, you know what, I'm on the school board. I see very real firsthand examples of what the state has not been doing and the burden that not just puts on school divisions, but on local governments as well. And I was getting ready to run for re-election to my school board. And so, well, here's an opportunity. I can continue to complain about what the state has been doing in regards to education, or I can step up and try to go down to Richmond and do something about it. So at the end of the day, that was the deciding factor. I'm trying to go down and do something about education in the state.
That's a very compelling reason. The incumbent was elected back in 2011. He ran against also the incumbent then, Ed Hauk.
Right.
It was a very close race. I forget how many votes separated them, 200 or so.
That's right.
So is this considered a marginal district? Do you feel like you're running as your campaign is strong?
I think my campaign is strong because the race itself, the district itself, the fact that the margin of victory was so thin, it was 226 votes the last time, means that this is a district that can go either way. I don't think it necessarily leans one way or the other politically. And what that allows you to do is really get down and have conversations with people about what are the issues that matter. And when you're running against somebody that's held the office, what's their track record? And is that the direction you want to see the 17th continuing in? So at the end of the day, when I've gone out, I've seen people put the political hat. I mean, there's always going to be a group of people. Well, I'm a Democrat. I'm not going to get outside of that. I'm a Republican. I'm not going to get outside of that. But the majority, 80% of them, usually are getting down and say, well, let's talk about some issues. Let's have real conversations. Where do you stand on this? And is that something that I think is important to my day-to-day life? So I think that's how they're going to vote. And at the end of the day, the ground campaign, my ability to get out, travel the 17th, talk to people, look them in the eye, tell them what I'm about, what I stand for, and the doors that we're able to knock on and the phone calls we're going to make, that's what's going to allow somebody to win a campaign. And in that event, we've been very strong and been very competitive.
Impressive. One issue in the legislature that's come up, certainly the year before last, it was very intense, a little less so this year, has been expanding Medicaid so that the state could participate in the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
In other words, extend what's called Obamacare to potential Medicaid recipients. It's faced a very unfortunate track record in both the House and the Senate. What's your view on it?
Well, I have been running and campaigning as one of my priorities is that I believe we should expand Medicaid in Virginia. I think it's past time that we need to get to the argument about bringing down the overall cost of health care and not being hung up on the political question of who pays for it. We have the opportunity in Virginia to see other states that are controlled by all Republican leaders. Governor's Republican, the legislature, both the Senate and the House in their states are Republican. And there are ways there where they're seeing that if they bring those tax dollars back into their state, that even if and when the state has to start paying in and do their portion of it, that the money that they're seeing come back not only covers that, but gives them revenue in addition to it. So the opportunity here is that if we can get past that political conversation and go, well, what are other states doing? They're not hung up on whether or not it's a political party issue if I'm going to be against Obamacare or I'm just going to be against this because that's what the political party does. But what's good for the constituents in the actual Commonwealth of Virginia? There are people that need insurance. Expanding Medicaid lets us bring insurance to those folks. How you can have tax dollars leave the state, not to return, and say you're a good steward of tax money is something that I don't understand that. Now, the third part of this is that when the Affordable Care Act got validated, the management of care shifts to where hospitals, places that are in the business providing health care, they have to start managing that care, not necessarily insurance companies any longer. And they're trying to do this in a way that gives a better quality of care to folks and are very concerned about what the costs are. So it is, from a business perspective, in their favor to bring those costs down and work to it. Around that, we're seeing that there are different small businesses, some entrepreneurship going on, that are partnering with hospitals to help bring those costs down and provide a better level of care to constituents. So there's a real opportunity in Virginia for us to be able to create jobs, build out jobs, to allow folks to get a better quality of care. And at the end of the day, it will eventually bring down the general overall cost of health insurance. And that opportunity exists, and why we can't get to that discussion is beyond me.
Thank you, Ned. We're going to take a little break. We hope you'll be back to join us because we have a lot of good issues to talk about.